Today we have a very special job to do. We've been waiting for a day like this. It's raining outside. It's supposed to rain the rest of the day. And it's time to put a front tire on a Ninja. And just to share information, when a tire wears even with these little nubs, these little bars, it's time for a tire. Anybody who rides for any length of time knows everybody shares the same thing. They want to get one extra mile or one extra ride out of a tire. It's never a good idea because the handling deteriorates so quickly, especially on a front tire. And then pretty much every time you do put the new tires on, I know Joe Roselli's due for a tire, and Pokey was riding on tires. You could see the tubes sticking out of them. I guess we all fit into the same boat. But when you put that new tire on, you go, what the hell was I thinking? The handling gets better, the steering, and you're sorry you waited. And in our case too, some of these bikes, pretty high performance bikes, so you know, what's the point of having a high performance bike if you can't ride it hard? It's kind of like, it's like having a cup of coffee you can't drink. Then we will get to use our beloved winch today. So I'm trying to plan out a day. The weather's supposed to be rainy all day. This will be a good day to do this. And I think it's safe to say everybody who ever had a collection of motorcycles knows the more motorcycles you have and the older they are, the more time you better be willing to spend to maintain them, assuming you want to maintain them. And we're still waiting for our Norton muffler, and boy, we're coming down a home stretch on that. Several other little things to do yet before, and I always think the riding season is here a month before it gets here, but in our case, I'm ready. I'm ready right now. Once this tire is done, we actually have 2 more tires to change, but they still have a few rides left in them. Anyway, let me get started. I got to move the bikes around, get the Ninja out there in the front and under the come along, but first we feed the animals and we feed the old men. And I'm the old man. I wonder who's hungrier, these fish in the morning or me? Good thing these fish don't drink coffee. It'd really get expensive. Okay guys, you gonna jump out of the pond and help me change that tire today? You're not. Okay, fine. See if I feed you lunch. Now, because we've had so much rain, so many days of rain, I think they set the record. Everything in Karen's garden is just blooming away and grooming and blooming, and oh, we're so happy we have this. Now look, what's going to be really nice is when we get the paint next winter, we're going to be looking at a nice garden, hopefully. And this was one of Karen's Mother's Day presents. It's an outdoor thing for her garden. I wonder if he drinks coffee. Well, I know one person that does, me. We got to get started today. Hey, how about filling up the seeds while you're having your coffee here? We'll help you change the tire. We'll poop on the tire when you're out in the driveway. I love my birds in the morning. Hey, I gotta get going. Gotta get time to get to work. I just looked in the logbook for my own reference. On this tire we got 8,500 miles, which is really good. But again, keep in mind, this is a bike that is not that heavy and not overly powerful. The bikes that have more power and more weight, not going to be anything like that, of course. Also, this is a Pilot Power 3, Michelin Pilot Power 3. I'm going to replace it with a 2. I think in my case, the 2 is a little better on mileage. And I've always liked the way the bike handled with the 2s. And most of the other bikes have 2s. When I have a choice, I kind of gravitate toward the 2s, although I have tried the 3s. And just as a point of reference, the Sport Demons, the Pirelli Sport Demons on the 750 were definitely the tire of choice. We've had 3 different brands on there, and the Sport Demons seem to handle the best. All subjective, and certainly I'm not the be-all end-all, just some general information. But anyway, time to get busy and jack up the bike. That coffee is starting to kick in. I'm ready. Now, I even use my winch a lot of times when I'm doing work similar to this, just as a safety thing, so there's no way the bike can fall over and topple over and crush me or whatever, especially I'm laying underneath it doing something. I never really like to depend on any of those stands. I know bikes have a way of falling off the stands and falling over. This is the best investment of $75 I've ever made. But anyway, now what I do first thing, and I've evolved this little system of mine, which I wanted to share. I have the weight off the bike, but you can't turn the tire yet. The tire is still, well, I can lower it just a little more. So I do have the tire not turning. So now I can go around and loosen the caliper bolts, the axle bolt. It makes that a lot easier when the bike is not up off the ground. What happens with all of these bolts, when you get the bike where the front wheel is off the ground, they get a little less stable. So if you just break them, and because they all have Loctite, everything on the front end of this is Loctited, of course, this just makes it a little bit easier. A little trick that I've learned. And some of these tricks you really learn the hard way. So with the bolts removed, the calipers slide out. I want to be careful not to scratch the wheel. Be very careful, try not to scratch anything. There you go. Just a question of being careful. I want to check the pad wear. Pad wear looks fine so far. I guess we'll finish. We're going to clean this all up before we reassemble it, but right now the first step is to get this up and out of the way. Now here's a really useful tip. I cleaned these up with a little simple green just to start with, get all the dust and goop out of them. Of course, I want to check that I have plenty of material. This motorcycle has 24,000 miles, just coming up on 24. And the pads look about, they're probably got half of the material left. But what I always want to do, I want to spread them with the screwdriver, and then I put in these three. I always keep them in with my brake, with my tire changing stuff, to hold the calipers apart while I put them up. I'm going to tie them up in place with a zip tie to get them out of the way. Having these out of the way. Now I know people that can change a tire and leaving these in place, but boy, it's just extra work. It's hard. This is the easy way to do it. It may even take a little longer, but you just get a lot less agita, because now with these spread, this will go right back on. You saw it was difficult to get it off. You got to wiggle it, because what you're really doing is spreading the pads so you can get it off without scratching the rim. And that is a really good tip. And one zip tie holds that up out of the way while we do the rest of the work. Now, next step is going to be to do the other caliper exactly the same. Then raise the bike up, loosen the axle bolt. I need a special wrench to get in here, but I don't have the one that's supposed to be here. I have a substitute that comes with the big star wrenches. The biggest one fits in there, and you need to get. It's a little tricky if you've never taken one of these apart. This has to get backed out. Step is this bolt that pinches the forks together, holds the axle in place. It's only on one side. Once we have this loose, now I want to just break this loose, and again I have that special tool. There should be a special tool for that. I don't have it, but I do have the attachment from the star wrenches. Now with everything loose, we can just raise up the bike. Once the axle's out, obviously you slide the wheel forward. There's a spacer on this side. We don't want to lose these. Spacer on this side. We'll clean them all up. Yes, they are symmetrical. And we have the front wheel ready to work on. Now, what I always try to do when I'm doing this kind of maintenance, get in here, some simple green. Anything I can clean, it's easier to clean now inside by the forks. All of this stuff can be wiped down and cleaned a little easier. Compressed air seems to help getting some of the nooks and crannies. I always think anytime I have something apart, before I put it back together, I'd like to have it as clean as possible. Because some of these things are very hard to clean when the bike is in one piece. and super easy to clean when they're apart. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's just the heaviest stuff I can get off. Or even let the air out of the tires or try to get the old tire off. I want to clean everything with simple green. I don't want to be dealing with and working with filthy, dirty parts if I can help it. It only takes a few minutes to clean the parts, and boy, it's a lot easier to clean a wheel when it's like this than when it's in the motorcycle. Most of the stuff is cleaned up. I got the valve removal tool. I'll let the air out of the tire and break the bead here momentarily. But as I go along, I like to work with clean parts. So the easier you can make the job, the better it is. I think so anyway. So what I have to break the bead is a Harbor Freight bead breaker, about a $20 tool, $25. I put layers of Gorilla Tape on any of the spots that might tend to touch the tire, and then as an extra safety thing, I put a towel over this just to try to protect the rim to minimize any damage that might happen to the rim while you're doing this. And this, by the way, was an idea from Chuck. It's an old fork leg from a dirt bike. I guess he gave it to me just to give it a little extra leverage. Now it's really cold out here. It's about 47 degrees when I looked. And so I think I'm going to take all of this stuff inside because I want the tire, when I mount it, to be as warm as possible, of course. That's the whole idea of this. This is not a sunny day. You can't even put it out in the sun. I'll have to use the quartz heater to heat the new tire. But we got to go to war with the army we have, that's for sure. So one thing I wanted to try, we just got these into our new material. The rim protectors for when you're pulling an old tire off. Again, we've taken a tire off many ways. If it's warm, the easiest thing is just get the tire warm. That makes it a lot easier. Looks like you need 3 of them on this rim anyway. Now that's not the real advantage of these ProMotion things. The advantage might be, and I gotta try it. Let's see if this works. Once I get a couple of tires under my belt here, I'll figure out if I can make this easier. I'm not sure I can. Alright, so it did work pretty good. Not bad. Now before I mount the tire on, I make sure this is as clean as I can possibly make it. It's a lot more convenient doing it now than when it's on the motorcycle, that's for sure. There's little spots you can get in here and there and everywhere. And before I put this back, of course, one of the things I have to do is clean this with brake parts cleaner, clean the pucks. I don't want to have any of that soap in there. But when you start putting clean parts back together, oh, it changes everything. Now we have a brand new tire, and it's at ambient temperature, which is here is about 65. I'm going to try to do this without heating the tire, but sometimes that doesn't work. But if it doesn't work, then what we'll do is try those blue things and try to just get the last little bit with the rim protectors. So it'll give us a chance to try something different. Maybe add to our knowledge of changing tires. Okay, the first thing here is to find the heavy spot. Good old Michelin doesn't give you the heavy spot. And it's where the joint would be. In fact, it feels like it's right here, to be honest. Right here is the heavy spot. So that goes opposite the valve. The valve is going to go up here. Just mark that for my own self. Okay, so and again, these tires have balanced out so well lately, we've been in good shape. Okay, so the next thing is I need to get the Gorilla Tape out. We're going to put the Gorilla Tape on in 4 places and then see if it's our lucky day or if we're going to have to use that, because this is ambient temperature now. This has been in the house. So if I were able to put this out in the sun, I would guarantee you this tire would go right on. When it's ambient, sometimes it goes, and sometimes you really have to fight it. So this, I've done this so many times, and I've tried to use half of the thickness, and every once in a while they pop. Now, the trick is to start getting the tape on. Don't get it down into the bead. Get it as close, but not down into the bead. Press that down real good. Press that down because you don't want it to come flipping out. Now, when you pull this through, what you'd like to have is use your body weight. And hopefully, I'm going to do that here and here. 4 places. And that seems to be one of the things you don't want to do, and a mistake I used to make, is put the lube on the bead, whether it's Dawn or that stuff that the liquid. I don't want to have that on. Right now I want to have, and I don't want to have gloves on now because the gloves get slippery and you can't do anything. So we are at the point here. We'll get all 4 of these pieces on. And it doesn't seem critical. I've tried using 6 pieces. I've tried using 3. I've tried whatever combinations I could. 4 seem to be the magic number. And it doesn't matter if they're super equally spaced. What matters the most in changing a tire is the temperature. If you can get this tire out in the sun or on the dashboard of your car on a hot day, it'll basically go on by itself. So I checked that the tire is rotating in the right direction. And we will probably be a minute or so away. Now, I wouldn't want to, just to make it easy, I don't want to leave the tire like this and go have coffee. I want to get this done. I want to go get some Dawn. I'm going to try to do this one with Dawn. Put some Dawn around you only have to do one side of the rim. And then we got to see if it's our lucky day or if it's our Motion Pro Blue Piece day. Honest, I haven't found the liquid to be, that tire changing liquid, to be a lot better than just doing it the old-fashioned, this is, I call it the old-fashioned way with old Dawn. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe there's some other benefit that I really don't know about. But this seems to be plenty good. Actually, if you really were thinking about it, you really only have to do the part that goes over at the very end. The rest of it's pretty simple. I'll put a little bit on the rim. And then we do our countdown to see if it's our lucky day. Well, apparently it was our lucky day, and to be honest, everything looks okay here. Looks good to go. Now, I will, just to make this easier on myself, I can get rid of some of the soap right now. That's not going to be a big deal. Even if you didn't do this, it wouldn't matter. Again, just makes working on it a little easier. I want to make sure I have the V where I wanted the valve, that I've got that lined up, because once I pop the tape, I always verify that the rotation is the right way. I see the arrows are the right way, so that's good. We really did have hopefully a lucky day. This is amazing. Not every day is a good day like this. So when you get one, you got to really appreciate it. So here's the thing that's now, it gets to be something a little tricky. Is you want to get the tape off without leaving any inside. Because as soon as you let the strength go, so you let that side go, you let this side go, if you possibly can, get in there with a pair of needle nose, not your fingertips. And, well, that didn't work. I want to get that tape up and out of there. Now, this one is a little sticky. But I want to make sure I get the whole piece out. And I did. So when I get all 4 of them out, we're ready to put the valve in and put some air in the tire. Before I put the air in, I usually do this, just to semi-seat the bead. Get the compressor as high a pressure as you can get. Put the valve stem in. and wait for that magic sound. Pop! Oh, I love the magic word. Pop the magic dragon. Now what I'll do is I'll put 50 psi in here and then check the bead. Okay, 50 psi. Compressor's done giving me a headache. Now, if the bead leaks, we know for sure, absolutely sure, we left a piece of tape in there. Let me get some Windex, ordinary Windex, give this a bead test. Now the good news is we're not going to ride this bike today. It's looking like it's going to rain. So what I always try to do is anytime I change a tire, and I'm very conservative about this because, believe me, this can happen to anybody. I want to see this tire hold air at least for a couple hours, or even better, overnight. So what I'll do is I'll put the pressure I plan on running in the bike, probably 32 pounds, and then tomorrow morning I want to see 32 pounds. I don't want to see 18 or something. Anyway, I don't see any bubbles on that side. It seemed to have popped and seated almost instantly. But this is the easiest way to test it. You can run your finger around. Sometimes you can feel it didn't seat just right. Ordinary Windex. Anything that makes bubbles. Actually, this is not funny. I had a friend that was doing dirt bike tires, and he was doing a lot of them. And he used to tell me what he had to check the bead and check here. He used the stuff kids blow bubbles with. And then I found out you look online and see what it is. It's basically soapy water. So, that they charge you $10 for or something. But there is a formula for making a bubble mix, because I've made it for miles. But it looks like we have a good, well, it looks like we have a real good, in fact, real good seating. Now I've got to, right now, clean everything up and go get the balancer and see if we're even close, or if we need to address that and put some balancing weights on. Looks like we need one weight on this. Oh, it's very, very close. All right, so what we're going to do is we'll figure out, obviously, which is the heavy side, and start by putting one small weight up here, exactly opposite the heavy side, and then we should be good to go. So it looked like after we spent a little time with this, it needed one of the bigger weights, not the smaller weights. Luckily we have plenty of weights. The trick is at the end of it to try to get it to sit in all positions without dropping. That looks real close. Really close. So with the tire balanced, I want to run all this hardware on the buffing wheel, clean it all up as I put it back together. You can kind of look at that and see if you think it's worth doing this, worth cleaning the hardware up, worth cleaning all the stuff up. In the eye of the beholder. What always helps is a little bit of wheel bearing grease on the spacers so they don't fall out. We just got to get this caught on the first thread here. Now the last thing is just to carefully take out these pieces of wood that hold these apart. Try to slide them right into position. Now I'm putting one bolt in temporarily. I'll just show this on one side. That bolt is just temporary, just to hold it. Now I can get my other bolts. Get a drop of Loctite. One drop is all you need. Get that started. Take this one out. Now I'm old school. Every time I do something like this, with either one of the wheels, because now we've moved everything around, so to speak, what I like to do is spin the wheel after I tighten each thing up to see if I've created some friction that I really shouldn't have. And a lot of times the pucks shift or something happens. Just hand tight is good enough. There's no resistance there. So I'll do the same thing every step of the way. Then I'll pump the brake, make sure I don't have any drag on any of these. And I don't want to pump the brake till I get the other rotor on. Okay, the next thing is just to lower it down. Always double check that the kickstand is down. That might help. And with that job done, a motorcycle with 24,000 miles looks and rides brand new, maybe even a little bit better. And now he can return to his place in the pitching rotation here, and we can get busy with the rest of our day. And we try every day to share our passion for motorcycling, what we do in the shop, the rides we go on, and throw in a little bit of the family stuff. Here's the thing, Glenn is coming tonight to pick up his parts, and that means we are done for the year. It is strictly riding and some detail upgrades and that muffler, and we will be ready for I hope the best summer of all time. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. So Glenn is here. Glenn is here teaching Miles
How to say
proper child etiquette. Let's see you knock it down, Miles. Chickie. Come on. Here we go.
Ba-boom.
Here we go. Proper grandchildren.
You're gonna kill me.
Oh. You gotta hit Glenn. Do it in slow motion. Go ahead.
Count
Go ahead.
Down. 5.
Go. 5. 4. I'll get it in slow motion.
Hold on, he wants me to really.
Oh my God, this is going bye-bye.
Hold on.
Oh boy. 5.
You ready?
4. 3. 2. 1. Oh my God.
You want to see it?
Ruffle. I was like that.
Let's see it.
You raised them right, Glenn. You raised them right.
Great.
Look at. He wants to see it in slow motion now. Oh my God, look at this. Oh.